You felt it. You're standing in the aisle, you pick up something you've been buying for years, and the price tag stops you cold. Not dramatically. Just enough that you put it back and stand there for a second doing the math in your head. That moment is happening more often for more people, and it's not random noise. It's the beginning of a real and documented price acceleration that most households are completely unprepared for. Grocery prices are already up more than 30% since 2020, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics data. And right now, 3 separate forces are hitting the food supply at the same time. First, tariffs. Steel and aluminum duties jumped to 50% in June of 2025, and nearly 80% of the tinplate steel used to make food cans in America is imported. That cost is already working its way to your shelf. Second, climate damage to crops. Coffee growing regions in Brazil and Vietnam, olive groves across Spain, grain belts stretched by heat. Third, import tariffs hitting the countries that grow what we can't grow ourselves. Brazil, the source of roughly half the world's coffee, is now subject to a 50% tariff on green coffee exports to the US. These aren't theoretical future problems, they are happening right now and prices are already moving. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I cover this kind of thing every week and you're going to want to be here for what's coming. This is your list. 21 foods available at any grocery store right now, priced reasonably today, that are either already spiking or sitting directly in the path of the next wave. Buy them now, store them right, your future self will thank you. Number 21, white rice. This is the foundation of every serious pantry and the first item you should be adding to any stockpile. White rice lasts 25 to 30 years when sealed in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers. Brown rice maxes out at around 6 months because of its oil content. Go white. Buy it in bulk, seal it in Mylar bags or food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers, and keep it somewhere cool and dark. A 25-pound bag of white rice provides roughly 45,000 calories and takes up less space than you'd expect. As a primary carbohydrate source, when everything else is uncertain, nothing competes with it on price, shelf life, and sheer caloric density. Number 20, all-purpose flour. Cereal and bakery product prices rose 1.5% in 2025 and are predicted to climb further in 2026, according to USDA projections. Flour is the upstream ingredient behind bread, pancakes, pasta, baked goods, and dozens of pantry staples. Stored in sealed containers away from moisture and light, it keeps 6 to 12 months at room temperature and significantly longer in the freezer. Buy more than you think you need. When flour prices move, everything downstream moves with them. Number 19, dry pasta. Pasta stored in a sealed plastic bag or airtight container keeps for up to 8 years without meaningful quality loss. The cardboard box it ships in is the weak link. Humidity gets in, pests get in. Transfer it into proper storage and you've locked in today's price for nearly a decade. It's also one of the most morale-sustaining foods in a stressed pantry. People eat it, want it, and feel normal eating it. That matters more than most people give it credit for. Number 18, rolled oats. Stored properly in a sealed container, rolled oats last up to 2 years and often longer. Steel-cut oats extend further because less processing means more structural stability. They're high in fiber, filling, and cheap per serving right now. Oat prices are currently below their 20-year historical average, according to USDA forecast data, which means you're buying at a relative discount before that trend line reverses. Number 17, cornmeal. This one is easy to overlook, and it shouldn't be. Cornmeal is a complete carbohydrate source that stretches across multiple meal types: bread, porridge, fritters, flatbreads. Sealed in Mylar with oxygen absorbers, it stores for years. Import pressures on grain commodities have been consistent and the trajectory isn't pointing down. Stock it now while the price reflects ordinary demand. Grains are your caloric foundation and they're all relatively stable right now. That window is closing. The next category is where the pressure is already acute. Number 16, dried lentils. Lentils cook in 20 minutes with no soaking required. A single cup of dry lentils produces 2 to 3 cups cooked and delivers around 18 grams of protein. Stored sealed and dry, they last 4 to 5 years easily. No other shelf-stable protein at a grocery store competes with lentils on cost, prep speed, and nutritional density. Because they're largely grown domestically or in Canada, they're also less exposed to import tariff disruption than most proteins. Buy them in bulk. They're one of the quietest and most important items on this entire list. Number 15. Dried beans. Pinto, black, kidney. Take your pick. Dried beans last 8 to 10 years in sealed containers with oxygen absorbers. They're a complete protein source when paired with grains, and they're cheap right now. The main mistake people make is buying too few. A single pound of dried beans produces about 6 cups cooked. For a pantry designed to absorb real supply stress, you need enough for months, not days. If you've been watching this and taking notes, drop a comment below and tell me which of these you already have at home. I'm always curious how prepared people actually are before they start watching this channel. Number 14. Peanut butter. Unopened peanut butter lasts up to 2 years. It's calorie dense, high in protein and healthy fats, requires no cooking or refrigeration, and costs next to nothing per serving. I personally keep a rotation of at least 8 jars in my pantry at all times, and it has never let me down. For households with young children, this is especially critical. It's the food kids will actually eat when everything else feels uncertain. Avoid natural peanut butter for stockpiling purposes. The oils separate and the shelf life drops sharply. Stick to conventional jars with stabilizers for long-term storage. Number 13. Canned tuna and sardines. Canned tuna lasts 3 to 5 years and is one of the most complete ready-to-eat protein sources available at any price point. Sardines pack even more nutritional value per ounce. Omega-3 fatty acids, calcium from the soft bones, vitamin D. Fish and seafood prices are predicted to grow faster than their 20-year historical average in 2026, according to USDA data. The 50% steel tariffs hitting can manufacturers are already pushing packaging costs up. You're looking at a category with 2 simultaneous price pressures building at the same time. Buy this now before both land on the shelf price together. Number 12. Canned chicken. Less celebrated than tuna, but just as strategically important. Canned chicken is fully cooked, needs no refrigeration, and lasts 3 to 5 years unopened. It flexes across a huge range of meals: stir-fry, sandwiches, soup, pasta, rice bowls. For households that depend on meat as a central protein source, this is your insurance. The steel tariff story hits here exactly as it does with every other canned good. The can that costs $2.49 today will not cost $2.49 next year. Protein handled. Now we move into the category most people completely ignore when they're building a serious pantry: the infrastructure layer. Number 11. Salt. Iodized or kosher, bought in bulk and stored in sealed containers, salt lasts indefinitely. No expiration, no degradation. It is the most fundamental food preservation tool that exists and has been since before recorded history. You need it to cook, to preserve, and to make every other food on this list taste like something worth eating. It's also one of the cheapest items at any grocery store. There is no reason your home should ever have less than 10 pounds of salt in it. Number 10. Apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar with the mother has an indefinite shelf life. It's acidic enough to resist bacterial growth permanently. It's a flavor base, a preservation tool, a salad dressing foundation, and a home remedy staple that has earned its place in pantries for centuries. Buy the large jugs. Store them sealed and away from direct light. This is one of the safest purchases on this list because there is no downside risk to buying too much. Number 9. Soy sauce and tamari. A bottle of soy sauce lasts 2 to 3 years unopened and keeps for months after opening. More importantly, it transforms ordinary shelf-stable food, rice, beans, canned proteins, lentils, into meals that people actually want to eat. Flavor fatigue is a real and underestimated problem in any long-term pantry scenario. Soy sauce prevents it. Tamari is the better pick for households managing gluten sensitivity. Stock both if you have the space. Number 8. Raw honey. Raw honey doesn't expire. Archaeologists found honey in Egyptian tombs that was still edible after 3,000 years. That shelf life isn't a trick. It's the result of very low moisture content and natural antibacterial enzymes that block microbial growth entirely. As I covered in my Honey Brands video, you want raw and unfiltered honey from a traceable source, not the ultra-filtered glucose syrup sitting in most grocery store bear bottles. Beyond shelf life, raw honey is a genuine antimicrobial, a cough suppressant, and one of the most calorie-dense natural foods you can store. It is worth every dollar. Number 7. Canned tomatoes. This is one of the most overlooked items on this entire list and one of the most important. Canned tomatoes anchor hundreds of recipes, sauces, soups, stews, curries, braises. They keep for 3 to 5 years, and right now they're directly in the crosshairs of two converging pressures. Tomato prices from Mexican farms have already jumped over 12% year on year, according to recent grocery tracking data. The 50% steel tariffs on canned packaging are specifically hitting canned vegetable categories. BLS data showed canned vegetable prices rose 2.6% in a single month as tariff costs began filtering through in mid-2025. Buy a case. Buy two. The pantry infrastructure is set, now the 3 items. People most consistently underestimate for stockpiling purposes. Number 6. Coconut oil. Coconut oil is rich in saturated fats, which means it resists oxidation far better than most cooking oils. Stored sealed and cool, it commonly lasts 2 to 5 years and often longer. It's versatile across sweet and savory cooking, handles high heat, and needs no refrigeration. For a long-term pantry, having a reliable high-heat cooking fat that won't go rancid in 6 months is non-negotiable. Coconut oil solves that problem cleanly. Number 5. Powdered milk. Non-fat dry milk stored in sealed containers lasts 20 years. That's not an exaggeration. It's the number cited in FEMA emergency food storage guidelines. It reconstitutes easily with water and functions in baking, coffee, cereal, and anywhere fresh milk would normally be used. Dairy prices are predicted to decline slightly in 2026, according to USDA data, which makes right now one of the better windows to buy before that reverses. This is one of the few stockpile items with both favorable timing and an almost unlimited shelf life. Number 4. Canned coconut milk. Canned coconut milk lasts 3 to 5 years and provides something powdered milk and plain water can't: richness. It transforms rice dishes, soups, and curries in a way that makes meals feel substantial, rather than utilitarian. For households managing dairy intolerances, it also functions as a direct cooking substitute, and yes, the steel tariff pressure hitting all canned goods applies here too. Stock it while the price still reflects pre-escalation packaging costs. Number 3. Ghee. Ghee is clarified butter with the water and milk solids removed. That removal is exactly what makes it a stockpile item. Regular butter spoils at room temperature because of its water content. Ghee, stored in a sealed jar away from heat and light, keeps for 12 months at room temperature and significantly longer in the refrigerator. It has a high smoke point, a deeply rich flavor, and works across almost every cooking application imaginable. One sealed jar buys you a year of a high-quality cooking fat with no refrigeration required. For a pantry built to absorb real supply pressure, that's not a luxury, that's a genuine asset. 2 left. These are the ones I want you to take most seriously because the data behind them is not speculative. It's already in your grocery bill. Number 2. Ground coffee or whole bean coffee. Ground roast coffee hit $8.41 per pound in July 2025, a record high and a 33% increase from a year prior, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics data. A 50% tariff on Brazilian green coffee took effect in August with no exemption granted. Brazil produces roughly half the world's coffee supply. At the same time, drought and poor harvests in both Brazil and Vietnam pushed global coffee prices to near a 50-year high earlier in 2025. Analysts say prices should ease somewhat in the near term, but the longer-term view is less reassuring. Climate change is structurally reducing yields in every major growing country, while global demand keeps rising. Buy coffee now. Store whole beans in vacuum-sealed bags. They keep longer than ground, and you grind fresh as needed. The price you pay today is the floor of what's coming. Number 1. Extra virgin olive oil. The olive oil crisis of 2023 and 2024 rattled an industry that had never seen anything like it. Spain supplies more than 40% of global olive oil production. During the 2022 to 2023 season, Spanish output fell from a normal 1.3 to 1.5 million metric tons all the way down to 666,000 metric tons, roughly a 51% collapse. Prices at origin surged over 64% in a single year. Supermarkets in Spain reported theft surges as consumers treated bottles like cash. Rabobank's senior oilseeds analyst called the price volatility unlike anything seen in over 20 years of studying the sector. Production improved in the 2024 to 2025 season, but Dioleo's chief sales officer stated plainly that the industry is still in a phase of tension, that climate change has been identified as an existential threat to the sector, and that volatility will persist. Extra virgin olive oil lasts 18 to 24 months unopened in a cool, dark location. Buy dark bottles. Store them away from heat and light. When you find it at a reasonable price, buy extra. This is not a luxury pantry item. It is the most climate volatile major cooking staple on any grocery shelf, and the window where the price is reasonable is narrower than it looks. Here's what to do this week. You don't need to buy all 21 items at once. Pick 5. The ones you use most and the ones highest on this list. Buy a month's worth more than you normally would. That's the whole strategy. You're not building a bunker, you're locking in today's price on food your household was going to buy anyway. Rotation is how it stays practical. First in, first out. Eat from the front, restock from the back. Every time you buy a can of tomatoes, put it behind the ones already there. That system keeps the pantry fresh and keeps your family eating at prices you decided on instead of prices the market handed you. Grocery prices are up more than 30% since 2020. The forces pushing them higher right now are not temporary. That's not alarm, that's math. Act on it while the math still works in your favor. My next video runs the same investigation on cooking oils. Which ones are adulterated, which ones are worth stockpiling, and which ones the industry doesn't want you looking at too closely. You'll want to be there for it. I'm Henry. Thank you for listening to Food Fraud.